Welcome mates, I am BloodThirstyLord, but you can call me Lordy, and today we're back once again for another Predator Hunter Grounds video. And today's video we'll be talking about patch 2.0 part 1, since this is a series of updates before it does roll out to be the rebirth of Predator Hunter Grounds in the 2.0 updates. And we'll discuss the key points of that patch and also the free trial weekend that will be happening this weekend. But before we do get this video, make sure to hit that like button to show support towards the channel. Let's try to get 500 likes on this video. Also hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with us, and also click on that join button too to become a member of the channel. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. They also highlight the free trial weekend that's coming up very soon, which is this weekend, so make sure to play the game if you can, if you don't have the game yet. If not, then obviously you already have the game, it doesn't really matter, but what else comes with the contents of the updates does matter to you. And there's also a part 2 of this coming out, thinking later today, I'm pretty sure, for the full experience of the patch 2.0 update or experience within Predator Hunter Grounds. This will also be a brief description of what the changes are. We're not going too much in detail unless it's interesting. So the general changes, there isn't too much, except they fixed quite a bit of issues that were occurring with the game. Very good, and also various crash fixes and stability improvements towards Predator Hunter Grounds. Very happy to see that for PC and also PS4. Some of the general changes that happened to the fire team is the new addition of Last Man Standing. It seems to be a game mode that does affect during the normal hunt matches that occur with fire team members. The way it works is, once the last fire team player will enter a last man standing state, which will they buff the play stats and give them more of a fighting chance against the Predator. This will last as long as they are the last standing player. While affected by last man standing, the last fire team player will also have increased body heat vision to the Predator player. So the Predator player should be able to spot him from a distance, but also at the same time, this last man standing player in the fire team is going to do a whole bunch of damage and have a whole bunch of stat increases for every aspect of his kit. Very good to see that. It seems to be a way to balance the idea of a 1v1 scenario happening within the game for an honorable 1v1 fight. I'm very intrigued to see this in the game itself. Also keep in mind, all the changes that we're going to discuss today are in the update already, so you can play it in the Predator Hunter Ground experience right now. And we'll have some gameplay on all those factors very soon on the channel. Increased fire team damage taken from AI. The spotting icon color is now based on player call sign colors, so you have different call signs from each player as they spot down the enemies or try to spot something unique within the map. Lower damage reduction for equipping a pistol suppressor, so that's cool to see. Maybe pistols will come into the mechanics, and using suppressor versions may be more beneficial within the game. They also changed the fire team weapons as well, just slightly. Some of them getting increased ammo towards them, being the pistols, and the SMG gun getting some increased close range damage, so that's a buff towards that. And the hammerhead rifle getting a nerf with increased recoil and also lowered close range damage, so the weapon is essentially a little bit harder to hit your damage, and also up close it doesn't do as much as before. And the gear being flashbang increased blinded duration, but they increased the gear weight as well to 2 instead of 1. And now the perks, they're all over the place. They've done a lot of changes to everything. Essentially, they've increased some of the benefits of each perk and also increased the cost or reduced it depending on what it does within the game and how effective it may be. And this point is valid for both sides of the game, being Predator and also Fire Team. I'll highlight the honorable mentions when it comes to the Fire Team, and that is the perk Thick Skin, getting increased health but also increased cost. Double Time, increased movement speed but also increased cost. Yautja's Bane, being increased damage to the Yautja as well. Insane to think about that got buffed. Also the OWL trained perk got increased damage reduction from the Predator. So you see the perks getting stronger within the game, but also increasing cost. But the lower end perks, being like the 1 or 2 point perks, they do end up getting less reductions on cost, but then end up getting a buff as well. So that's like the idea of how they're trying to manage it. And it just seems like some broken combos are coming out already. I've tested some already in my fighting matches, which hopefully we'll have some in the future on the channel, but it's been insane using these perks. And now let's move on to my main, the Predator. I'm going to be highly critical on this aspect because there's a whole bunch of changes that did occur. Some are good, and some of them just out of whack. I don't know where they came from, but it's good because either way, it's quality of life towards the game itself. There's a whole bunch of general changes we're going to highlight that right now. And one of those changes was the updated City Hunter Roar and Healing Roar sound effect for the character. So that's that quality of life that people wanted, because people were so annoyed by the idea of why the City Hunter Predator is doing that roar when it's not healing, and vice versa. So they've been fixed and put them in the right positions for the character. Very good. Now let's move on to the weapons. The weapons are kind of interesting. Combi stick, wrist blades, smart disc. They didn't have any changes. They're just fixes on the quality of life for the game. The Yautja bow lowered headshot damage. War Club got a buff, increased damage of final melee swing. Will that make that better? Most likely not, but then there will be builds that will highlight that as well in the future. Handheld plasma caster reduced fire rate, increased recoil, and adjusted camera shake. Net gun increased recoil, adjusted camera shake. I feel like the net gun camera shake will increase recoil. Doesn't really matter too much, but the handheld plasma caster got a huge nerf towards its aspects. Unfortunate there. But then something to make up for that is the gear options, being the bear traps. Bear traps are now destructible before being activated, so watch out when you do throw them because a fighting member can shoot it in midair and they'll be destroyed. reduce visibility of bear trap proximity field. Good, like to see that. Increase the amount of bear traps that the Pret has equipped at the start of the match, and that is now 5 without large pouch, and we'll highlight a video in the near future highlighting that build in action. So now we do move on to the Pret's perks. The exact same thing that happens to fire team members and their perks has been inflicted here as well, so we'll highlight the honorable mentions when it comes to the perk system. Long jump, adrenal boost, trapper, fast hands. These perks have been increased in their effects, but also come up with an increased cost, so that's something to keep in mind. And the low point perks for the Pret have got increased benefits towards them, and maybe even go at a more reduced cost from 2 to 1, so that's insane. And other perks like impatient, which we use quite a lot in our builds because it's so darn strong, has been nerfed to the ground from 2 points to 5 points, and also increasing the cooldown timer on that, so that is essentially making it worse or more extended until you get your second win back. That is unfortunate because we love that perk, and I'm guessing Lafonic was watching us and our Prancer builds as we use that perk in action all the time. So those are all the changes that currently happen within patch 2.0 part 1. Part 2 will be out tonight most likely, and the free trial is only exclusive to PS4 players, so PC players that have Epic Games client can't get the free trial. It's only exclusive to PS4 players. Keep that in mind. I'm kind of excited to see what the outcomes are, because when you readjust your perk system, a new meta will arise, but I feel like the meta will come to a point when it just freezes again. Everyone has the same builds, same outputs with every Prancer class, and it just ends up being the same thing that happened before. But we'll see what happens with the next patch, if that reworks it again or changes again, as they're trying to gain data for everything that's been done in the game for the next couple of days during this weekend. Because I feel like when a trial weekend comes up, they want to see how many players come to the game, but also to see what they're using exactly within their perk builds, what they enjoy more within their builds overall, what do they gravitate to, and use that data to obviously build on the game even further and beyond. I'm very intrigued to see what happens with the next couple updates for Predator Undergrounds. But mates, as always, tell me your opinions and thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to know. As always, it is a pleasure to have you guys on the channel as we go through this. I'll catch you mates next time. Bye.